Hi everyone, my name is Steph, this is Novelty Corner and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing a try chapter video and I haven't done one quite like this before because I am someone who, when they start a book, I either like to finish it or DNF it, and starting multiple chapters of books doesn't always work for me, but we are going to try it today and we are going to do the Kindle edition. So we're going to be using my jar of stars, which are all my Kindle books, and we are going to pull some out between 5 and 10 books. I'm going to read the first chapter and I'm going to decide whether or not it's something I want to keep reading or something that I want to DNF and get rid of. And I thought this would be a good way just to start sort of working my way through some of these stars and books that is a little bit of a faster method than what I'm doing with my monthly resets. I haven't decided yet if I'm going to also have make this into a reading vlog in that I actually finish one of the books. We'll see how I go, but we're going to start off with choosing how many books I'm going to read, and then I'm going to pull the first book, read the first chapter, let you guys know what I think of it, then pull the second book, etc. All right, so let's find out how many books we're going to be trying the first chapter of. I swear I know the concept of my own video. Choose a number between 5 and 10. I don't know if you guys can see that. It is 9. So let's go in the jar. This is a very sensory thing for me. I'm gonna go right to the bottom. We're gonna pull out this one and see what it is. Now I should say, if it's a series, I'm pretty sure I only put the first book in the series on stars anyway, or the next book in the series that I had. But if it is a series, then you know it'll be a case of whichever is the next book I have to read, unless it's an interconnected series of standalones, because then that doesn't really matter. How to be a normal person. I can't remember what that is. Oh, it's TJ Klune. Okay, it's one of the older TJ Klune books. Okay, let's see if it comes up on my Kindle. I'm going to read the first chapter and report back. All right, so I read the first chapter of How to Be a Normal Person, and I don't know how many pages long. It's about 3% of the book, and we're following this character Gus, who is just going about his morning routine, getting up to going to work. One thing I noticed about this, I can kind of tell this is an early TJ Klune book. There is a lot of repetition of names, like the names come up constantly multiple times on a Kindle screen page. I'm hoping that that doesn't continue, or I'm wondering whether that is something to do with Gus's character, that he uses names a lot. But so far we have learnt that Gus lives by himself. He has an inspirational quote calendar thing from his neighbors, who are 3 lesbians who are either sisters or in a polyamorous relationship, and he hasn't worked out how to ask them which it is yet. And he has a pet, and he works at his father's video rental store. His father has passed away 3 years earlier and he maintains the store. So I'm getting a sense that there is, you know, some anxiety, some uncomfortableness with himself, and I'm not quite sure where the story is going to go from this point, but it is very queer and I would continue this at some point. I don't know if it'll be today. Let's pick book number 2. Let's see if I can get some more from the bottom. This one. If there are any of these books that I'm keeping but not reading straight away, I'm going to put the star back into the star jar. That's why I'm trying to be very careful and not break the paper, otherwise I'm going to have to rewrite it. Oh, okay. This is a Halloween one. This is Trick or Treat Me. Oh, I don't know if this is going to work. Hang on. And the reason I say may not work is because I think this is an anthology. Yeah, so it's 6 stories. I think I might save this one. So let's wrap said star up again, just because if I read the first chapter of the first book, that's not really going to give a really good indication of the rest of it. So yes, I do collect anthologies for things because I do actually enjoy reading them, but maybe for this project, not the best choice. All right, I'm going to leave that one out so I don't pull it out again, but I will put it back in later. Okay, let's go with this one. Again, another anthology. I'm going to laugh. Oh, this is going to be a hockey one. It is Pucked Off. So it's book 6 in the Pucked series, but we'll give it a shot anyway. So this is the cover. We're going to read the first chapter. Okay, so that was an opening chapter. Jeez. So we have our perspective of our main male character, Lance, who is a hockey player, and he's gotten a text from an ex that she's in town and that she wants to see him. She's staying in a hotel, so it's a booty call, and he gets there knowing that their relationship is not great, it's toxic, and she has another woman in the bedroom, and he knows that she's playing games with him, and so he calls her on it. And so there's basically this power struggle between the two of them, and when she doesn't get her way, she slaps him. That's never a good sign, is it? Anyway, at the end of the chapter he leaves, so that's interesting. I'm kind of intrigued to see where that one goes. That is a potential contender. So let's go with book number 3. Go this style. Okay, this one is Third Time Lucky, which I'm not going to read the chapter of because I've already DNF'd this book after the first chapter. I had a physical copy and this was the ebook. That's good. That one's off the TBR. Yeah, so we're going to be clearly pulling more than 9 books if I can't pick things to read. Book number 3, take 2. This is another one I've read. Precipitous Nightmares, Valentine's Dream. That was a fun one. That's a really good paranormal story. We'll go with the one that fell on the floor because clearly it wanted to come out of the jar. No, that was a really fun little story. I would like more to sort of expand the world, but that one was quite fun. All right, Play Your Part. Is this another one I've read? It's by Catherine Kincaid. I have read it. Oh, this is going so well. Well, clearly that style wanted to come out of the jar because it's been read. When did I read that? That's the question. I read it in August last year. I'm trying to work out why that was even in the star jar. Okay, here's one that I have definitely not read. Reckless Refugee. I don't even know what that is. Okay, it's a Catherine Cowles. This would not be the first time that I have read a Catherine Cowles series out of order. All right, I shall check in soon. Reckless Refugee by Catherine Cowles. It's book 4 in the Wrecked series, and I actually read the prologue and the first chapter because the prologue was only like 2 pages long. So we have our main character Shay, who all of the Catherine Cowles books open with something horrible happening to the female main characters. That's just the part of her romantic suspense story. And the first chapter is Shay living on this island. She's the caretaker for a house on this island. She's very fiercely independent. She's basically hiding away from the world, but she hasn't officially changed her name or tried to hide her identity. She's just tried to hide herself away from the world. And she's just found out that the family looks after the house for her has just sold the house, and that the new owner will be arriving within a week, and that it's up to that owner to decide whether or not they're going to keep her on as caretaker of the property. So that's where we are. Catherine Cowles is also a really, consistent author in that I know that I will enjoy her books and I will get through them quickly. So that is another strong contender. So let's go with book 4. And hopefully we don't need to pull this one out again. I'm not going to unravel this one even though it's not fully unraveled because I know what it is. It's A Week to Be Wicked. I think that's a Tessa Dare book. Yeah, so it's Spindle Cove book number 2. I don't know all that much about it aside from the fact that it's a Tessa Dare historical romance, and if I'm going to enjoy any historical romance, it's probably going to be Tessa Dare. I'll get back to you after I read the first chapter. Chapter 1 is 21 pages long, so this is the longest first chapter so far. We have Minerva, who is a blue stocking, and she has gone to the house of a Viscount who she has heard a rumor that he is planning on getting married. And she thinks that the plan is to marry her older sister, and she wants to convince him not to do that. And so she proposes to him that he travels with her to Scotland for a symposium on geology. She studies geology, and that after the symposium and her winning a prize for her presentation, that he could keep the money. They'll come back and she's quite happy to have her reputation ruined, and he can go about his life none the wiser. And then they sort of get into a semantic debate about ruination and his character, which he's a rake of the tallest daughter. So that was book 4. It's been a while since I read a Tessa Dare historical romance, so it is always fun. Like, I would like to continue reading that one, but I'm pretty sure I probably won't pick that as something to read because I want to read Spindle Cove in order. So that's one to come back to at another point. Let's go with this star. So what are we? Book 5. I think I'm going to read this chapter, then take a brief break, get some dinner organized. Oh, okay. The Awakening of Ivy Leovold, which is Sierra Simone. All right, so this is the cover. I am actually planning on reading this at some point because it will be one of the books that I read for a Bookmon prompt for pearls on the cover, and I need 2 books with pearls on the cover. But we'll read the first chapter and see how I go. All right, so that was a fairly short chapter. It was 11 pages long. So we have Ivy, who has lost her parents and her brother, so this is a historical, so she is alone in the world, and she's on her way to Markham Hall, which is the home of her late cousin's husband. And the solicitor in charge of her family's estate found the cousin, and this was her only prospect aside from becoming a governess. So she's just arrived at Markham Hall and been taken to her room, and everything seems a little bit isolated, and we haven't met Mr. Markham, and so Ivy's not sure quite what's going on. And neither am I. I'm going to quickly pull book 6, but I'm going to make some dinner and then I will read this first chapter afterwards. So this book. Okay, so this is an Eden Finley book. Well, this is a series. So first book I think is potentially Spotlight. I own most of, if not all of the series. So it is the famous series. Popstar is the first book. I know that. It's this cover. I totally forgotten. Anyway, after dinner I will read the first chapter of Popstar and let you know my thoughts. All right, so dinner is done. I am in between periods on the Women's McCowan Cup for the Australian Women's Ice Hockey League. So I have just read the first chapter for Popstar by Eden Finley, which is book 1 in her famous series, and we are following Harley, who is a former boy band member who has struck out on his own, and essentially after a show he comes home and his manager has been talking to him about getting a bodyguard, but he says no, and then he gets home and he gets out of the shower and he finds that there is this guy hanging out in his kitchen, totally freaking him out. And so the whole scene's just gone down where he's managed to get out a message to his manager, who's called the cops, and they've come in and dealt with said stalker, and he's agreed to have a bodyguard. So clearly this is going to be a bodyguard romance, and it's going to be an celebrity bodyguard romance. So that could be fun. You know, the entire purpose of this was to try and find books that I could, you know, permanently clear off my TBR, and the problem is all of these I want to read. Okay, what are we up to? Book 7. I wonder if I can get these all done in this intermission. I doubt it though. This one is called Here for the Bang. Don't know what that is. Let's find out. Oh, this has multiple authors. Is this going to be another anthology? Oh, it is an anthology. Okay, that's going to have to go back in the jar. And before anyone says anything, yes, I am aware that if I stopped collecting anthologies, I would possibly not have this problem. That would be sensible. All right, what have we got? This one. Yep, nearly dropped it again. Saving Her Selkie, a new adult paranormal romance by Nicole. Alrighty, let's try this chapter. Okay, so the first chapter of Saving Her Selkie was only 11 pages long, but the entire story itself is only like 55 pages long. So maybe I'll read this one just because it's 55 pages, and I don't know. This one I am sitting on the cusp of, I don't know. So you have Ula? Yes. Who is on the beach. She's watching families and kids play on the beach, and then this guy turns up and starts talking to her. Apparently she's a princess of some kind. I'm assuming she's the Selkie and that she's a princess, and he is a mysterious person who she can't remember meeting, but she knows he's his fated mate, and then he leaves and she feels him leaving because she feels her fated mate leaving. I don't know about that one, but that's okay. Let's do number 8. And if the lighting keeps changing in my glasses, that's because they keep running replays of the first 2 periods of the hockey game. All right, this one is called Break the Girl, an enemies to lovers hockey romance by Rachel Jonas. I'll be back soon. Again, I spoke too soon because I will probably be deleting Break the Girl off my Kindle. Like, the first chapter was totally fine. It's full confession, it's been about an hour since I read it because the finals for the hockey finished and then my mum called, and so there went an hour of my life, and now I'm getting messages still. We've literally just got off the phone. The first chapter is the female main character getting a tour of her new college, and then the very end is talking about sort of these hockey players who are the, you know, superstars of the school. I suspect it's going to be a bully romance, so we are noping ourselves right out of there. The writing itself was fine. Like, I would be curious to continue it, not straight away, but yeah, no, we don't do bully romances here on this channel. That's a no. Which brings us to our last try chapter. All right. I kind of want to... I'm just trying to really mix these up. Not that it really matters, there's so many of them. Who knows what I'm going to pull. All right. Oh. Last one standing. Unless it's an anthology. It's not going to be an anthology, guys. We've done enough of those today. Where is the end of this thing? There it is. Okay. Oh, this says Trident Security Series, so I clearly have more than one book. Let's see if I can find what book 1 is. Or maybe I just have a whole stack of the books. That could be it as well. Trident Security Series, a special collection, volume 1. So clearly I've picked up a collection somewhere. All right, while that's loading, I'm going to put back these anthology stars. Samantha Cole. Let's give it a shot and see how we go. So I finished the first chapter of the first book of Trident Security, which is Leather and Lace. This one has the female main character who is a romance author who has previously written a whole bunch of closed door-ish kind of romances, but has become really popular since she started writing BDSM romances. She's just moved to Tampa. She's sort of settling in, and she is sort of post-divorce and trying to get back into the game, but not really sure how to do that. It's basically her trying to decide which of her characters is going to be the next lead in her book and getting herself off to a fantasy. And I was fine up until that point, and I'm totally okay with the scene itself. But if any of you saw the live that I did with Heather and Bree and Ashley, we were talking about, you know, things we do and don't want to see in romance books. Just call your body parts your body parts. In sex scenes, there's nothing unsexy about naming something its correct anatomical name instead of giving it cutesy nicknames. And we got cutesy nicknames, so I'm just like, yeah, no, I don't think so. I don't think so. So what has my little experiment told me? Well, I'm going to be getting rid of Break the Girl by Rachel Jonas. I don't feel the need to read that, so that can go. I also feel like I can probably get rid of Trident Security. It didn't hook me. If that's the kind of writing I'm gonna get, I'm gonna put it to the side, particularly in a BDSM story, which I suspect this is what it's going to be. I've read so many really good, well-written BDSM scenes and dynamics, so that's fine. I don't need that one in my life. I'm really tempted, like the next ones that sort of sits at the bottom of the list would be Saving Her Selkie, but it's only 55 pages and I'm kind of intrigued by it. So I think I'm going to keep that one. Yeah, I don't feel like reading How to Be a Normal Person by TJ Klune right now. Pucked Off by Helena Hunting. I mean, it could be fun, but I really have no context for that book because I've only ever read the first book and that was a long time ago. I don't feel like reading the historical. I want to read the rest of Spindle Cove before I get to that one. I mean, I could do Popstar by Eden Finley. That would be a really quick, easy read. Sierra Simone I want to save for the moment. Like, it's probably going to come down to Eden Finley and Catherine Cowles. Honestly, I probably feel like Eden Finley, even though I really don't need to start a new series, but I was trying to get back to sort of Eden Finley and Saxon James's backlists last year. Maybe I'll read that one and then I can get back to you guys and let you know how I went. All right, so I finished Popstar by Eden Finley and it was exactly what I expect from an Eden Finley book. I completely forgot that Harley was the third love interest in Hat Trick, which was the last book in the Fake Boyfriend series. He was the ex-partner of Jay, who was one of the main love interests in Hat Trick. And they had an appearance in here. And it took me that long to realize who it was. But it was fun. It was enjoyable. So Harley is dealing with a stalker and Brix is brought in as his bodyguard. Brix is also trying to support his father, who had a stroke and is in a care facility that he's struggling to afford, and so the job is really important to him. And along the way, the two of them fall in love and deal with the stalker, who just becomes progressively more violent. So that was fun, and I now know more about the series, which is following the members of the boy band 11. And yeah, I think each book is going to follow a different band member, and in this one Harley is just trying to separate from the recording label, who basically own the rights because they were a teenage boy band. So yes, that's it. It was a little bit of fun pulling random books from here, and I definitely will try and get to the other books. Oh, I should say that I DNF'd the Selkie book. I read a few more pages and just couldn't. I couldn't, but that's okay. So that means that 3 books are gone from my Kindle. I've read another one out of 9 books. That is a successful reading experiment, and I will definitely come back to the other books that I didn't read sometime in the near future, because now that I've started them, my brain won't let up until I finish reading them. So there is that. In the comments, I'd love to know if you've read any of these books or if you're planning on picking any of them up. Feel free to let me know down below, and let me know if you want me to do another try chapter little video and what my theme should be, because it could be things like KU titles, it could be physical books, it could be special edition books, it could be anything. It could be new to me authors. That's always fun. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. I hope that wherever you're in the world you are staying safe and healthy, and I will see you in my next video. Bye everyone.